Metro TV Ghana. You can join us live on YouTube also. Metro TV Ghana, DSTV channel 277. You are live there on radio 94.1 FM. My name is Desmond Okurekudanzwan. Welcome to the program. We'll be back shortly after this break.
The pulse of a nation, rising, unshaken. When the Black Stars take the world stage, we don't just play, we bring the storm. Fuel the dream. Support the Black Stars. Storm Energy Drink. Make your mark. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
As the days come and go, there's always shit. Let colleagues explore all the planetary bodies. Our mission is in Uranus to treat hemorrhoids, anal fistula, anal fissure, anal incontinence, hidradenitis suppurativa, using laser Legasure for pain-free and speedy recovery. On Uranus Street, Accra, is Main Tuber Hospital and Coloproctology Center. Trust Uranus with us and we will delight you. Visit Main Tuber Hospital today or call us on 0244 581 541.
Madam, I'm looking for Abena.
Abena, there is someone looking for you.
Madam, please, where's Abena?
Abena, yes, ma'am. Is this who you are looking for?
Madam, please get me Abena. Please.
Della. Abena, bra.
Oh, Abena. If it's not Abena rice, eat any of
Abena rice and Nijin Kwa. FDA, a Jadian Kratso Yatsum.
Following the heavy flooding that hits part of Accra, we're here at the Circle New Plant Station to assess the aftermath. And one of the striking sights is the overwhelming amount of plastic waste. And that raised concerns of poor waste management and what is also contributing to the flooding. We're going to give you the opportunity to take a look at this. Aside from the heavy plastic waste littering around, some of the people around are telling us that there are dead bodies inside and then also dead animals. We are yet to find the authorities to see whether they would come and then clear this. Apparently, the scents of the dead bodies and animals are beginning to get into the area, and they are wondering why up to now nothing has been done.
Grandma bibia abepako ha nipa kuso mu ka ho ndora kora po ma mi bia sa abeja no ho oso mu ono so ka ho oda ho o mu nya bebe yi sent no so ba ekuro mu nyina onya bebe atana senta mo pacha ya pacha mo bi entana mo be sha ade na mai.
Also, the president a few weeks ago announced the ban on styrofoam. And the big question is, will the ban on plastics and so on help reduce flooding? This is Nana Kwesikwetia reporting for Metro News.
Right, so that was my colleague Nana Kwesikwetia earlier this morning at Circle, and you saw the heap. In fact, it's being called a buffet of plastic waste in the Odo River. And it is very prudent that on this day, as we commemorate International Plastic Bag Free Day, we see what we have on the ground, what we are grappling with as a country, and how we can get better with that. That is why we're having this dialogue, this conversation on this day, to see what the solutions are for this. Remember that these plastics, as you see, take a lot of years to fully degrade in the national or the natural environment, and it raises questions about the awareness about the elimination of plastic bags. I remember a few weeks ago I spoke to the president of the National Association of Plastic Manufacturers, and we were having conversations about all of these things, but the issue is bigger, and we really need to find a way around it. So joining me, I have my guest, but for now, James Deku is an environmental consultant. He joins me here, also with Zoomlion Ghana Limited, who have played a major role and still playing that in the waste management situation in the country. So we'll get to talk about that. And later, we'll have Noi Omabo also joining us. He's manager, Ghana National Plastic Association Partnership. We'll also get to talk to him also on the panel. But let's take a look at what the statistics say about plastic usage in Ghana. Right. So you have that on the screen now. So it says that in Ghana, some 120 companies manufacture over 52,000 tons of various plastics and plastics products per year. More than 1 million tons of plastic waste are generated every year. Only about 5%, that is 55,000 of this, is recycled. And it continues that plastic pollution costs Ghana's economy an estimated $50 million annually due to impact on tourism, fishing, and healthcare. And that's actually from UNDP, a report in 2018. And it continues that the Volta River is estimated to carry around 73,000 tons of plastic waste into the ocean annually. So this is what the data looks like, and it's troubling. When the rains came down on Monday, 29th of June, I saw a footage from the, is it Laboma, and the heap of refuse that had gathered on the shores of that particular beach. And of course, it cuts across to all our beach fronts, from this Greater Accra to the Volta to Central towards Western. It is happening everywhere, and the impact, as I read to you, on tourism is immense, and this is something that we need to talk about. So James is here. We're going to get into the conversation, get his initial remarks, and then I'll introduce my other guest who would also get to have a stake on our conversation this afternoon. But of course, you can share with us your thoughts on our social media handles, Metro TV Ghana on Facebook, also on YouTube. We're live on there on 94.1 FM on radio. We're live on 277 on DSTV. James, thank you so much for joining us on this very important day. Let me begin just your initial remarks on Monday. So this is the end, as we saw, but when the rains came down, we saw the whole buffet moving along. I don't know where it came from, but it was just moving, and it was very disgusting watching that. We're definitely not faring well when it comes to disposal of plastics in this country.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for having me on your platform, and a very good afternoon to your viewers. I think the images we are seeing is very devastating, really shocking, where we've got into, and then the rains have just exposed the realities in terms of what we need to do as stakeholders to be able to manage plastics. Plastic itself comes in various forms, whether you have them in the PET forms, you have them in PP, you have them in PS, you have them in HDPE, the high density form. So these are just different forms of plastics. But what you saw basically is what we commonly use, the sachet plastic. So that is what we have been using. And you see, these are single-use plastics. When we talk about single-use plastics, we are talking about plastics that you just use once and you dispose it off. And basically everything about our lifestyle has been embedded in plastics. Very, very interesting. And data is telling us that our ability to be effective or to effectively manage this plastic is becoming a problem. Everything is plastic. Right in your car, a lot of the content or the manufacturing of a car, 30% are components of plastics. These are data that is telling us in our homes, a lot of the appliances we use are plastics. So when you move out from your house, you buy things, you buy them in plastic. You go to the market, you end up receiving items in different forms of plastic. If you buy a tomato, you give you in a different plastic. You buy another product, it's also packaged in plastic. So plastic has become, well, we've become inundated with plastic. And then the question has to do with, this is the situation we find ourselves in. The rains have exposed them. You know, the flooding issues, how the potential of plastic to even clog drains and be able to, you know, make it difficult for flood water to even safely pass through some of these drains, are also contributed because of the way we dump plastic into our water body. So it's a big problem. So we have to understand as a country we have a problem. Then we take efforts to be able to manage it.
Then we take it from there, right? Thank you very much, James. Gabriel Kudiabo is also a Chief Production Planner, Universal Plastic Products and Recycling. Gabriel, thank you so much for joining us, and good to see you. Also, I'll take your initial remarks on the report shown by my colleague, Nana Kosikwitia.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Greetings to all our cherished viewers. You have said it right. My colleague here has, I want to borrow his words. This flood has actually exposed our indiscipline. Plastic in general is not bad. It's a very good thing.
Right.
And all over the world, everyone is using plastic, developed and developing countries.
Right, so Gabriel, would want to hear you clearly, so if you could draw closer to the right.
It is for us as Ghanaians to manage these plastics very well.
Okay.
And it comes with education. And we have to establish more recycling companies so that we can recycle as much as we can do. That is what we Ghanaians must do. And from the data, as you mentioned earlier, almost 14.5 million tons of waste are generated annually in Ghana. Now this comes in breakdown in plastics, other degradable food products, we have metals, we have solid waste. All these has to be managed. If you look at our industries in Ghana, we have metal recycling companies. What are we doing? We have to enhance them and increase their capacity, so that when these metals go waste, we can reuse them into another plastic, another metal. Now, all these plastics are recyclable. That is one thing we Ghanaians need to know. But from our households, we need to segregate them.
Okay.
If we don't segregate them, it becomes difficult to collect all these waste and recycle them. All this plastic we are using here in Ghana can be used for other plastics or same plastics. It can be reproduced. And we have plastic manufacturing, recycling companies in Ghana which are not even operating to their maximum capacities. So there's a gap. If we are disciplined as Ghanaians enough to improve our culture, make it part of us to separate our waste right from source, then we'll be able to collect them well. About 1.1 million of these waste, plastic waste, are in the environment, and we are able to collect only about 10% of it, which is very alarming.
That's very alarming.
Very, very, very alarming. These are the plastics we are seeing in our drainage. And that's what the flood has exposed.
Has exposed, and so that's a very important one, and that is why we're having this conversation here on Metro TV. And so for this, we're going to take a look at a number of thematic areas for this particular dialogue. So the main theme as we're looking at today is rethinking plastic bags in Ghana, policy alternatives and action. Rethinking plastic bags in Ghana, policy alternatives and action, and looking at it also from plastic dependence to practical solutions for a cleaner Ghana, so that in a few years to come, we do not see the situation we're seeing now. We do not go to the beach to have some fun and we are thrown off because lots of waste, plastic waste all over. And of course, we're getting to the argument of the ban put out by the EPA that from January 1, styrofoam products and all of that, the conversation continues. The association, the manufacturers do not exactly think so. They think that something else should be done about that particular situation. So we'll get into that conversation also. So let's begin with the big problem, the plastic bag problem and the impact in Ghana, and looking at it from a policy and a market perspective. James, so growing up, we've all seen around us, you go out to buy something, and I'm reading that it got severe in Ghana in the 1990s. So that's where the black rubber, you go out, whatever you buy. In fact, one shopping, you can come home with like 5 plastic bags of different colors. You can have the black one, there's the wine and yellow, all of that. After you take that to your home, you go out for an event, you drink a bottle of water, and you would eat from a pack. And then it is dropped there. On your way inside a trotro or a vehicle, people will roll down and push out whatever thing that they have and throw it out onto the streets. Where did we get it wrong? Because it may look like any innovation that comes seems to be one that will help. But at what point did the helping become a problem for us in terms of plastic bag usage?
But I think our inability to innovate, that is one. And if for nothing at all, if you look at the history, we were having ways through which we package items. We were eating in leaves, which are degradable. So what happens with all this traditional knowledge that we got growing up? You go to your food joint, you get your food in a leaf, and that helps the environment because that is degradable. But unfortunately, we got to a stage where plastic or fossil fuel-based plastic manufacture became cheaper alternatives. So industries began, manufacturing these plastics. And if you look at the entire life cycle of plastic, from where the plastic is even produced to the consumer, and after it becomes waste, there's a lot of greenhouse gas emissions from the plastic alone. And data is telling us in the next 10 years, plastic alone will be emitting about 19% of greenhouse gases, which is very, very significant. So we have to understand that in as much as we appreciate or we like plastic because using them is more convenient, it is cheaper, and we are enjoying it, we should also understand the fact that our inability to match up with its management, especially after we've used, is becoming a problem, and it's having a lot of effect either on the economy, your health, and especially most things. One critical area that people hasn't even paid attention to is the microplastics. These are very tiny microplastics, very tiny fragments of plastic that your eyes may not see. But as we wash our cars, as we wash our clothes, because our clothes are also made with some component of plastic, polystyrene. Okay, so as we wash them, we are emitting all these microplastics into the environment. And this is some of the sources where the food we eat, the animals also injecting them, and these plastics ends up in our body. So it is a problem, and we have to understand the magnitude of this problem. So are we going back to the traditional knowledge or trying to have certain package? If for nothing at all, we can start with the food, because on weekends when we buy our wache, we have that alternative to eat, that request to buy it in a leaf. And these are things we should encourage in our communities. If for nothing at all, those were the traditional ways we were, buying or eating from leaves. And also, when we go to markets, we're growing up, you see our parents go with a basket. So they will just buy and put everything in there. Not today that you go, you take different form of plastics all boxed together.
But James, do you think there's an understanding of the situation from the ordinary Ghanaian's perspective of plastic? of the waste that it produces when not disposed of well, and the effects thereof. Do you think there's an understanding? Do Ghanaians, and I'd ask Gabriel the same question. Do you think we understand that?
I think progressively people are beginning to realize the effect of plastic. Even see the video that you have shown. People are amazed, the water carrying all these sachet rubbers. People are amazed that, so this behavior of dumping waste or using plastic have that kind of impact. But you see, leadership will have to coerce or take actions on behalf of the citizens to understand that data is telling us that we are inundated with a lot of plastic waste. Should we innovate or should we ban? If we agree that we want to innovate, then we should empower a lot of the companies, especially the private companies that are establishing this infrastructure to recycle some of these plastics. And that can become another economic model we can look at because of the extra job generation potential, the ability to get people in the informal sector working, picking, recovering some of these plastics from the environment. So that can become a whole shift that government through policy can decide that, look, we want to turn this, plastic menace into an economic opportunity. Okay. We are going to expand, empower the private sector to invest in a lot of recycling facilities that can recover these plastics. We are going to get in every district, we are going to get a plastic crusher to be able to pelletize the plastics in that very form and get industries that recycle them. We are going to roll out a circular economy model. These are all conversations that government should take a stand and agree that if you are not banning, then we have to make or manage this plastic menace.
Right.
Well,
right. Thank you very much, Gabriel. So to you also, the question about the understanding of plastic waste in this country, in your engagement with people, in your work, you think people understand what it is?
Fairly, people understand, but I think the government and we who are educated in this plastic management must do more. But there are a lot of students who come to the factory I work in, Universal Plastic Products and Recycling. When we educate them on the uses, the benefit, the economic benefits of these things, they seem to be green about it. Yes, and these scavengers around who are coming from the northern part, they are making money out of it. We just have to educate Ghanaians more. It has to be a periodic thing. To generate waste is a normal thing. We cannot avoid it.
Right.
But we need to manage it well. That management is getting this waste back and turning it into another useful product. So what we are doing it, we go to churches, we go to schools, we educate them. The plastics you are drinking water from, they are all useful. Imagine we are producing football from this drinking bottle water. Imagine we are producing waste dustbin from this cup. This means that we can make economic value of these waste. But all we need to do is we have to manage it. We have to put waste bins, collection points almost everywhere. And if anyone defaults, the government should penalize these people. And it is a way of making money. All these scavengers bring in, and the monies we are paying them, you'll be marveled. They are making, and we have engaged a lot of people all around Ghana. We have sent shredders there, where people go around, gather waste, send it to these points, crash it into smaller units, send it to us, and we pay it. We pay even hundreds, thousands of cedis and millions to these people. So it's something, yes, every Ghanaian is encouraged to do this. And our offices are always opened. These plastics come in from all walks of life, and we are bringing them to our yard. We separate them into the various properties. We crush them. We pelletize them. The pelletizing is refining it because it has been exposed in the environment. We have mud, other non-plastics in it. Right. We are going to refine it into a better plastic and increase the bonding. Then we are going to produce the polyethylene, just as you mentioned, out of it, where when you buy your wachi, even after fetching the wachi in the leaves, the natural leaves, it's still put in a plastic rubber.
Yes.
That is what we are producing. Again, we are producing buckets for bathing from these waste plastics. And look at the number of secondary school students we have. And each of them needs a plastic bucket when they are going to school. And we are producing not less than 50,000 pieces of these buckets month on month. And all these things are from the waste we have been able to collect from the environment. So assuming we are collecting just about 6 or 10%, and we are able to do 20, 30, 40, 50. Look at how many lives we can save. and look at the number of lives we are going to impact positively.
But Gabriel, the way you say it sounds as though it's very easy. You know, I am sure it's not exactly easy. You know, in terms of getting it, in terms of the financing bit and all of that. In fact, if you say you have treasures across the country, that's another expense that you're putting in there to make this happen. But Sika Umo, I mean Sika Kum. A lot of money, I'm sure, goes into that.
You are very right. Yeah. You see, this is a visionary who saw that there is money in the waste we are generating. And he has done best to put in resources. Now we have to utilize the resources. And this has a nationwide positive impact. When you come to our factory and you look at these old women, other students who have gathered plastic in their own way, and bringing it in to exchange for other plastic they need in their households, or we are giving them monetary reward, you would acknowledge what I'm saying. It's actually not everyone can set up these manufacturing companies, but the government must make policies so that at least we have most of these companies in Ghana who can recycle about 60, 70, 80% of these plastics.
It's one that it's inevitable. Will produce waste. But let's take it back to the homes. I know Zoom Lion has been doing a lot of work in terms of trying to educate people. In fact, I know there's a Zoom Kids trying to educate them about how they can manage their waste from the home. So we've got the plastics. And for me, that is where, because you mentioned even when you buy the water in the leaf, it will be put in it. Now, people, Gary aside, we go rub him. Everything is zero. So before you get home, there's the white, the black, everything in there. The understanding from the home that we put plastics here, we put what was the other thing? Maybe metal. And other paper also here. Is it an easy thing to be done from the homes? Because it could be, we can sit here and talk about it, but when we go to our various homes, is there a conscious effort? Is there an easy way of getting maybe a bin that says this is plastic, this is metal? Do we have that in the first place?
Well, I think we need to progress in a manner that is able to fit our socio-economic conditions. I think gradually people are understanding that there is value in waste. I say this because sometimes when you go for events, immediately sometimes you finish drinking your bottled water, you see people picking them already. That is also another level of awareness that there is value in this form of plastic. That is one. Practically, when you come to the homes, looking at different standards, and for example, Zoom Lion Ghana Limited have done a lot of studies, pilot studies on source segregation, trying to see how we can put different forms of waste. So plastic separately, paper separately, metal separately. We've done that. But the level of awareness is low. That is it. But gradually we are trying to see how we can incentivize the households to be able to do that. So some of them, before the truck comes to pick, they have found a way to even put the PET bottles in a bag separately from the organic or other forms of waste. So that is being done. So when that is done, that is being collected. But the Just One Group, as he has mentioned, has done a lot to be able to draw people's attention to the fact that we will need to segregate waste. So one example is a waste buyback center, plastic buyback center. So Zoom Lion Ghana Limited have a facility at East Legon Underbridge, which serves as a buyback center. So when you collect all those plastic from the system, you can send it to that buyback center, and then you receive something for it, and that is kept later recycled by the company my brother is coming from. So I mentioned the fact that we should look at economic potential of that sector. If we don't want to ban, then let's look at the economic potential of managing plastics and what we intend to get out of it. And countries have proven that it can be done using the circularity model. Invest in facilities, generate income from even the plastic producers. People are talking about policy on extended producer responsibility. Those who even manufacture the plastic should be able to also contribute to its management. These are policies that have been effective in countries like even Rwanda and Kenya. I was in Kenya just last month. And these are alternatives people are using to ensure that we minimize the rate at which we depend solely on plastic. So I believe as a country we should take that decision. Are we going to, look at the economics of the plastics, put in sector, increase, budget allocation to the ministry responsible, either Ministry of Local Government or either the Ministry of Environment, EPA? Are we going to encourage them to be able to invest in that sector? And these are conversations we can have. I believe whatever government prioritizes to do, they can, get a lot of funding to do that. And this has become a global menace. So there are a lot of global partnership, global facilities that are even supporting some of the informal sectors to be able to recover plastic from our environment. So globally, there are funds that support some of this circularity on plastics.
Okay.
And government needs to put all these resources together, make it available, and decide that we are going to expand the plastic economy.
Okay.
If we are not going to ban it, then we are going to invest heavily in that sector, create the additional needed jobs for the people, make it attractive for people to go to that sector. Then I believe in my own home, when I generate plastic, I know there is value for it, and I'll just collect it and then send it to a buyback center.
This conversation is a very big one. It's a multifaceted one because a lot of things, go into it. I'm actually reading that comparing the waste to cocoa that we've produced in this country for so many years, we're putting up a lot of waste, more than cocoa, that we can use for a lot of things, if we're able to work towards that. That is our waste management or plastic waste management. But of course, the impact thereof, as we mentioned, that if you do not do the things that the resource persons they are talking about, we're going to have our waterways blocked, where we would see a lot of the issues we're seeing in Accra with the floods. Would have destruction of marine life, very important, because the fish that we eat and all of that from the sea, plastic waste threatens their what's the word?
Existence.
Their existence. And so it is also important that we look at that. And also soil and agricultural degradation. As we know that microplastics reduce soil fertility and affect crop yields. How are we also getting into that? And then the other issue of the burning, because we want to get rid of it, people do burn, and then it causes air pollution, which releases toxins into the atmosphere. That affects your health. And that is why we need to talk about this. And so please, we want to hear from you also. Share with us your thoughts on our social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube also, and maybe we can open the phone lines later and then hear from you also what you think about the conversation we are having here. We'll talk about government's action. What should be the immediate action to help solve this? Is it going to be the directive from the EPA about the banning of plastic products and its use? Would that solve the problem? Or there's more that we need to do? As James talks about innovation, how can we, get to do this in a way that could help the society to innovate and all that? So we'll get into that conversation also. My next guest is here with me, and I'm going to introduce him so that we also hear from Nimoy Omabo is manager, Ghana National Plastic Action Partnership. He joins us on the table for this conversation. Welcome to the program. Thank you so much for joining us. First off, talk to us about the Ghana National Plastic Action Partnership. What do you do?
Well, thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to be here to speak on International Plastic Bag Free Day. The Ghana MPAP is a multi-stakeholder platform. In the past, what used to happen was that a lot of the non-profit organizations didn't used to see eye to eye with the private sector. And so what the MPAP basically tries to do is to get all of the different players within the sector to work closer together and collaborate more to address the plastic pollution issues. So we have it's a platform of government stakeholders And so our major collaborator is MEST, the Ministry of Environment. We have the local government ministry as a member. We have private sector partners, Coca-Cola, Nestle, Moinani Group, Zoomlion, it's also a member of the MPAP. And then we have, a number of non-profit organizations. We also have informal sector players. The MPAP is divided into 6 task forces, and so we're trying to address the plastic pollution problem from different angles. And so we have the innovation task force. My brother here has spoken a bit about the need for innovation. We have metrics, trying to monitor data to see how well we are doing and where we need to reach to be able to measurable set targets. And then we have finance task force. And then inclusivity and gender, because in Ghana the informal sector is a big player in addressing the waste management issues that we have, and so we try to look at the most important angles, and we get our different players and members within the MPAP to work together on policy. So there have been different policy reports, like the Ghana National Plastic Action Roadmap. There's been a gender and inclusivity report, and all of these things is supposed to set target to help government and other players to, address the different issues that we are seeing within the plastic sector. So this is the main role of the MPAP, and we are hosted, originally hosted by the World Economic Forum, but in Ghana, the Impact Hub Accra hosts the MPAP. Yeah.
Right, thank you very much for the explanation of what you do. But again, for viewers and a lot of people, you talk about the engagement roadmap, all of these things. Usually it becomes a problem that every time we're meeting, we're doing summits, we're doing conferences, we're doing this, but we persistently see the issue there, without it being tackled fully. From your perspective and your engagement, what you've done over the years, where are we at as a country? Of course, the data says that only 5% of what we produce is able to be recycled, and then we're still producing more. There's a deficit in waste collection and management and all of that. In your perspective, how are you faring? Does it look like in the next 5 years we'll be able to maybe increase the number from 5% to maybe 10? We would be able to change the mindset, the behavioral attitude of Ghanaians towards plastic bag usage and waste management in general?
Yes, so we do have a long way to go, in Ghana, I would say, but also we've achieved some strides, and I think it's important to mention some of the things that we've done. In the past, we didn't have some policy roadmaps like the Ghana National Plastic Action Roadmap. And today we are hearing about the Extended Producer Responsibility Bill and so on. These were policies that set the tone for, the EPR policy, which will soon, as we hope, become a law that guides a lot of the work that we do in the plastic sector. So, there's still a lot of things to do and achieve. Behavioral change is obviously slow, but we've seen some sort of progress. And recently we've heard that the EPA soon wants to ban styrofoam. So I think that there's still a lot to do, but also we can see some, good signals of change happening that we have to acknowledge whilst we look forward to building better and doing better in the space.
Right. Gabriel, we have a challenge with waste collection. It's a big challenge. We've seen that over the past few days. The Zoomlion station at Achimota has been reopened. There are plans for other ones because, as you mentioned, now we're seeing a lot of the Aboboyas, going from home to home, carrying the bins, the waste. We've seen videos on social media where there was a long queue of 200 Aboboya waste collectors who didn't know where to put the waste. My colleagues, Derek Echo, they follow Zoomlion around to places where, they don't know how to collect the waste because they don't know where to even take it in the first place, because our landfill sites are not exactly what it's supposed to be able to take care of all of the waste we produce in the country. If we produce that in our homes, as I spoke with James, the segregation and all of that. Now it's left with the next step, which is the waste collection. We collect the waste. We have a problem there. Where to even take it to is another problem. Gabriel, if we have this on our hands, then there's a really, really long way to go if we are to tackle this issue.
There is a long way to go, but I believe that we can convert this challenge into economic benefits. As a manufacturer, I believe that Ghana is in the middle. We don't have the resources to ban it or fix it completely. But I believe that we have to set 4 parameters straight.
Okay.
Firstly, we have to reduce the waste usage. Just as you mentioned, you go to the market, you come up with about 15, 6, 8 plastic bags. How can we reduce these numbers? We cannot avoid it. The second thing is, how are we going to collect it? In the developed countries, we have seen videos, data, that after using about 5, 10 bottles of water, you can return it to the shop you bought it and get an incentive. The government, or there should be a policy which will encourage that. That will enhance our collection. Now we should be able to also recycle what has been collected. And what I believe is the recycling companies in Ghana are not much. The waste are way million% of our capacity. So we need to establish more recycling companies from end to end. The recycling starts from just purifying it, but after purifying it, making it pellets, what is the next thing you are going to do? And we are doing end to end. After collecting it, purifying it, we are producing another plastic which can be used. That is what we have to encourage. Again, you mentioned this, our landfills. There are a few landfills also who are managing waste well. If you look at what Zoomlion is doing, Zoomlion has a chain of recycling units.
Right.
Where from the dump site, it is moved to this recycling plants, where all the various combination of this waste are segregated. Metal is segregated, plastic is segregated, but ask yourself, the other landfills which does not belong to Zoomlion, how are they managing it? It's a very big question.
Right.
It's a very big question.
And they even they even add to the statistics so much in terms of the burning of the refuse, all of these things, and it becomes a problem. You know, one of our reporters went out to, which one is the one on the Wager stretch? I've forgotten the name, but from the videos that we saw, I mean, it was very disheartening that after all that we do in our homes and is collected, this is where it ends up, and it's not even properly, handled in terms of the waste, and then it will come back to haunt us because it will rain. It will move some of the refuse into people's homes, into the streets as we talk about. And I understand Zoomlion has taken a lead in that. But again, the question is how many, or is there a capacity to do all of this? There definitely needs to be support to be able to do that.
You are very, very right. Even this Aboboya we saw in Q, and all the waste we are seeing coming to Zoomlion or to the landfills.
Yeah.
These are just maximum 10% of the waste we are generating. So we need to build more landfills. Secondly, we need to set up plants to manage these waste. Very important. And you see, the economic benefit is what I look at.
Okay.
We, year on year, UPPR, we export flaked PET bottles into other countries which they are using to produce yarn, sewing thread, polyester, reflector jackets. So why would we allow all this waste to block our drainage? We can make so much value. We are getting foreign exchange. The economy is growing. So it's a serious sector for the government to look at. We can generate so much revenue out of it. And if you look at the number of people we have employed in our factory, the chain of benefits, the aggregators who are bringing it to the factory, it is hundreds of thousands of people. Already in the factory, we are running 24 hours.
Okay.
2 by 7.
Right.
We have about 100 employees in the plants at Boteman. We have plants all over Ghana. Multiply by this 16. Look at their families. The other churches, the households who bring their waste to us. The scavengers, now you look around and see those collecting metal scraps. They have another space, they are collecting plastic. What did we do? We went around to encourage them to collect plastics. When they bring it to us, we are going to give them return, monetary value. That is why you see all these scrap dealers also collecting broken plastics. But they cannot collect all. We need to educate all Ghanaians. First, separate it from your home. When you call us, we will come pick it and give you a benefit from the waste you have generated. There are a lot of people who come to the factory, they have all various plastics. We give them dustbin in return. How many households in Ghana now have dustbins? It's part of the management. Years ago, we introduced the 1 million bin where the government supported most households were given waste bins. How many of these households still have these waste bins now? How are they managing it from there? Now, those who are going to collect it from these households also, where are they sending it to? So Zoomlion, one other positive thing Zoomlion is doing is, most of these Abuboya are sending it to their landfills without paying anything.
Okay.
That is right. A good thing.
Right. So that's the situation we're talking about. This is the Achimota station, and you see Dr. Seo Japon there, and a lot of them, and their calls. I know the local government minister was also there to see for himself at this reopening of the Achimota station, and there's actually been a lot of calls for more of that to be opened across the country. So, James, for you as an environmental consultant and also at Zoomlion, and the conversation about waste collection, where many homes still depend, of course, Zoomlion goes round, and there are other waste management companies, and then you have the Abuboyas also going around and collecting the waste, and at the end of the day, we do not know where they're taking it to. It is very prudent that a lot of partnership takes place between governments, private sector, and all of us to make sure that we find a way to dispose of our waste properly, and when it comes to the plastics, we also do well with managing that.
Yes. I think we should understand the situation from a perspective. So as a country, if we have decided not to ban plastic, that means we've taken a decision that we should be able to manage the waste or the plastic waste very well. And I see positivity in that because there is data to prove. The University of Ghana through ISE has come out with cost-benefit analysis on waste management in general, and it's telling us that our inability to invest in proper waste management, it is even costing the country more. So if you don't put the money in proper waste management, you see that you are receiving a lot of people at the OPDs that government is paying more because these people are relying on the national health insurance and other economic costs. So if you don't invest properly in waste management, people, the public health, the health of the population become weak, productivity dwindles. So they have taken the trouble to tell us as a country that, look, when you invest into waste management, this is the economic return. So this data should be able to guide us to be able to invest in the waste management chain, right from collection, transfer, treatment, landfill management. Government should be able to dedicate a fund to be able to finance from sweeping of the waste to the temporary haulage center, transporting the waste to the transfer station as we've seen it. And you see this timely intervention by Zoomlion to have this transfer station open has also helped, because we were seeing a lot of queues of these tricycles line up, and they don't know where to send the waste. And most of the problem, the flooding problem we are facing, is because the tricycle collector cannot take the waste to his home. So he'll find a place to dump it. Either into our drains. And that is what clogs the drain, doesn't open up for the rainwater to safely pass through our drainage system. And that has become a problem. So let's appreciate this. And it's not like Ghana is not doing well. Honestly, when it comes to secularity, secular economy, in terms of waste management, the Jospon Group have about 36 waste treatment plants. We started managing waste from Kwame Nkrumah till Zoomlion came in 2006. How many waste treatment facilities can we boast of as a country? But post 2006, when Zoomlion came onto the scene through a government partnership initiative, we can boast about 36 waste treatment plants, different forms of waste, from medical waste to other forms of waste. As we speak, we have integrated recycling and compost plants across all 16 regions of Ghana. And these are investments that government should dedicate funding for to be able to operationalize some of these facilities, because it's really capital intensive. So the little that we are able to establish as a country, how ready are we to dedicate proper funding to make sure we operationalize this thing? And these are the economic benefits. Like I said, if you turn into a secularity model, you'll be able to make more gains, because data is telling us that we can turn the menace into an economic opportunity by properly dedicating fund and managing the waste properly. And if you have plants in all 16 regions, the number of people who get direct and indirect jobs, the number of informal people who even go around recovering the plastic from the system because they know there is a place to recycle them, the number of jobs that we can create as a country. So that also becomes an opportunity for us. But if we don't make good use of these facilities as we have in our country, other African country people are coming to Ghana to see our example, and they are recommending same in their country. So I believe that the potential is there. Let's empower the private person. Let government take the needed, decisive decision to make sure funding is available. And I believe the private sector will be able to support. Together with good attitudes, we should have our environment clean.
Right. Nino, I'll come to you, but my question is also going to be on the gap in the waste collection situation in the country. But my colleague Vanessa Edoton-Boateng is in Dansoman following Zoomlion and its partners as they continue to desilt some of the choked gutters and clear some of the parts in our communities as a corporate social responsibility in the areas as we see the floods, the rains actually coming down, causing floods in some communities. Vanessa, if you can hear me, share with us what's it's been like so far.
Yes, so currently I'm at Ablekuma West, Dansoman, that's the Mamponsi Shabu area, and Zoomlion in collaboration with NADMO is here to fill the drains. You remember that when the floods came, the area was flooded. So if you can see behind me, some of the drains that have been built, also the drain efforts are intensifying across the flood-affected communities in Accra, as Zoomlion Ghana Limited embarks on a large-scale desilting exercise to restore block drainage system and reduce the risk of further flooding. So the exercise taking place simultaneously in Ablekuma West, which is where we are currently. I understand the Okaikwe North, Ladadekosopong, and then Ayawasu West. It forms part of an ongoing recovery measure following the recent flood. So right here at Soman Mamponsi Shaibu in Ablekuma West, heavy-duty equipment, as you can see in your shots, and sanitation workers are working through heaps of mud, refuse, and plastic waste that have accumulated in roadside drains over several months. So, the operation is far from routine. Every scoop of silt removed from the gutters reveal another layer of plastic bottles, polythene bags, food containers, and other discarded materials that have clogged the drainage system and restricted the free flow of storm water. And the atmosphere at the site tells its own story. A pungent stench hangs heavily in the air as decades of decomposing waste are unearthed from the drains. So workers clad in protective gear continue the demanding task despite the unpleasant conditions, loading the waste onto the trucks for disposal. And so the scene presents mixed emotions, if I should say. On one hand, there is a relief and hope among the residents who believe the exercise will significantly reduce flooding in the community, particularly during a heavy rainfall. Well, on the other hand, the sheer volume of plastic waste retrieved from the drain serves as a stark reminder that human behavior continues to undermine efforts to tackle flooding. Well, the drains originally designed to channel rainwater from residential areas have instead become dumping grounds for indiscriminate waste disposal as plastics accumulated over time. They created artificial barriers that trapped water during the recent downpour, contributing to flooding experienced in the area. So the ongoing desilting exercise highlights the enormous cost of poor waste disposal in the community. Yes, Desmond.
Right, Vanessa, let me ask, are the residents joining in, helping with that because they caused it? Are they helping?
No, it's just Zoom Lion workers in collaboration with NADMO. The residents, with what I have seen, they are watching on whilst Zoom Lion are doing their work.
Do they know how the refuse got there? Have you spoken to them?
They know. Yes, they know. They know. Well, they do not want to talk to us, but they know because they are the very people that have been. So if you, in fact, in the shot, you see plastic bottles, drinks, water bottles, pure water bottles, rubbers, and whatnot. They know where these things are coming from because they are the very people that are dumping these things in the gutters.
Right, Vanessa, thank you very much. We'll definitely come back to you for more on that. So my colleague Vanessa Edetomboatin there on the road with Zoom Lion, NADMO, and all other partners as they desilt some gutters and take out some debris from the floods that came on Monday. Okay, I always ask the question whether the residents are helping, because it means that they are sitting and waiting for someone to come and do what they cost and clear it up for them. We've got to go on a break, but let me take your thoughts on the collection, waste collection, how we're faring, and looking at how we need to close the gap in terms of how we're managing the waste. Is there some positivity in that? Are we seeing some good work in that space?
Yeah, I think that generally in terms of managing waste, it's poor. But I think the problem about waste management is we have to think about it as a systems problem that requires system solution.
Systems problem.
Yes. So let me explain. If we continue to blame that people who live in communities are the cause of the drainage being choked, we wouldn't solve the problem, right? Everybody is to blame. Manufacturers of plastic take a fair share. The government takes a fair share in ensuring that there are enough landfill centers. So I think that we need to first start from where the plastic is produced. How do we ensure that we design bottles in such a way that it's either more recyclable, right? Or we design alternate solutions to using bottles, right? Or we build refill system. I think we need to start from where the plastic comes from, and then we go to the individual consumer. How does the individual consumer make sure that when they consume, something with waste, it's segregated enough, right? And then we go to the collection, then we go to government's role in landfill. So we need to properly analyze. That's how I think we'll be able to, ensure that we manage waste properly.
Okay, so for you, you think we've got to look at it holistically?
Let's break it down from start. Where is the plastic coming from?
From the manufacturers.
Can we avoid it? Can we find alternative beyond plastic? Then it goes to the consumer that's using it. How do we make sure that the consumer is properly segregating? Do we provide bins? Do we tax consumers and provide them bins to make sure that they're actually segregating? How do we make sure that we have landfills, enough landfills? That's the problem, because if you don't have a landfill, if I've consumed water, where will I put it? So it requires systems thinking and system solution to address the problem.
Right. Thank you very much, Nino. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get into the alternatives. What are the practicable alternative solutions to this? I know we talk about lots of things. Some say let's do we should do away with the plastic and look for some other ways. But is it practicable in the short term? What should we do? If you just tune in, this is the International Plastic Bag Free Day dialogue as we're having here on Metro TV, and this is to help talk about solutions for one of the biggest challenges we face with our environment, and that is plastic usage and all that it is doing. And so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll open the phone lines. You can share with us your thoughts on this. Whether you want to speak Twi English, you can just go ahead with that. How do we solve the situation? What is your concern about this situation we're talking about? So stay with us. My name is Desmond Okrekudan. So this is Metro TV. We'll be back in a bit.
The pulse of a nation, rising, unshaken. When the Black Stars take the world stage, we don't just play, we bring the storm. Fuel the dream. Support the Black Stars. Storm Energy Drink. Make your mark. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
Finding my dream apartment in just 2 days was a breeze with 7terragh.com. Looking for your next home, the perfect piece of land, or the best commercial property for your business? Are you worried about sending money home for property and finding nothing when you return? Well, worry no more. 7terragh.com is just a platform to find prime lands, perfect properties, or vibrant real estate development at the click of a button. 7terragh.com is your go-to property listing platform that allows you to register, list, rent, buy or sell, and connect with correct agents. With our AI-powered smart search, personalized dashboards, verified agent connection, and interactive property maps, all your property needs have been made easier. Check us out on 7terragh.com or contact us on 0302-998-246 or 0561 032 252. 7terragh.com, powered by MNC Properties.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, a who be here, Semetra Sapapadia to a mammy man for Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is so by a man is swing, Nesasu Mama Hotel so a will beg you.
Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Choose Kel Charcoal Toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Today's class is going to be an exciting one. Now, who can share an unforgettable moment in their life? Okay, Asempa.
I'd like to talk about my first time. It was her natural look, complemented by her favorite green silky apparel that caught my attention. I have to say, she automatically possessed me with her smile, which exposed her beautiful white teeth. That's not all, her enduring signature perfume could be smelled from afar. Madam, why do you look so surprised? My first time with her was special and irresistible. I'm talking about Cindy Rice. Cindy Rice can be found in selected supermarkets nationwide.
Cindy Rice, sweet aroma, great taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
Following the heavy flooding that hits part of Accra, we're here at the Circle New Plant Station to assess the aftermath. And one of the striking sights is the overwhelming amount of plastic waste. and that raised concerns of poor waste management and what is also contributing to the flooding. We're going to give you the opportunity to take a look at this. Aside from the heavy plastic waste littering around, some of the people around are telling us that there are dead bodies inside and then also dead animals. We are yet to find the authorities to see whether they would come and then clear this. Apparently, the scents of the dead bodies and animals are beginning to get into the area, and they are wondering why up to now nothing has been done.
Krama bibia abe pakwa ha nipa kuso mu ka ho ndora kura po ma milia sa beja no ho oso mu ono so ka ho da o mo nyamba beyi sente no so ba ekuro mu nyina onya bebi atana sente mo pacha ya pacha mo bi entana mo be sha ade no ma
Right, and the conversation continues here on a special edition of Good Afternoon Ghana on this holiday, the 3rd of July, where we're taking a look at the International Plastic Bag Free Day 2026 here on the show with me, Desmond Okrekudanzo, and my guests who are here with me. James Deku is environmental consultant. He's with Zoom Lion Ghana Limited. Gabriel Kudiabo is Chief Production Planner, Universal Plastics Products and Recycling, and also Ni Noi Omabo is the Ghana National Plastic Action Partnership. And of course, we're doing this with you. I know you have a lot of things to say. In fact, when we went on the break, we're talking about a lot of things. So I know you are also discussing that with whoever you are watching with. And so we'll open the phone lines in a bit so you can share with us what you think is causing this and how we can move on from here. Of course, looking at it from the theme Rethinking Plastic Bags in Ghana, Policy, Alternatives and Action. And we've talked about policy. We've talked about what we could do with waste collection and all of that, where we could start from in terms of the change of the attitude from our children all to the grown-ups. Now let's look at the alternatives. Nino, I'm going to start with you. The alternatives. What really are the alternatives? Or we're just looking at it in a vacuum? Is there an alternative to this?
I think everything matters. There are things that may seem as the most minute things, but I think they really matter. If you can stop taking black polythene bag when you go to the shop to buy your bread in the morning or milk in the morning, it's a good start. You know, people may argue that it's not the biggest step to take, but I think that if there are 100,000 people who are using black polythene bag every day and don't know where it's going, then we need to think about what we can do about it. So I think one step is first refusing, as we talk about it.
So if Jennifer and Heidi are going to the market, what would you suggest that they take to the market?
They take a reusable bag. You know, now you can use, there are people who make cloth from, reusable bag. You can go back to the basket system. When I go to work every morning, I buy food at the vendors around my office. But I take a bowl to the office almost every day. There are days that I honestly forget, but I try as much as possible to do that. That's one. For bottle, we should really start considering refillable system, right? So there can be refillable stations. People have their bottles. When they finish drinking the water that they fetch from home and it's finished, you know, they refill around in different spots. So we need to see a lot more of these pilots.
Also, sorry, I need to come in. We've got our very first caller, Richard from Adenta, joins us. Hello, Richard. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here. What do you have to say?
I just want to share my thoughts.
Right, please go ahead.
Okay. Is there not any other alternative of using our plastic, like manufacturing something like that for schools? Account and using it for chairs, desk for school, iron sheet, rubber iron sheet, and so that maybe when they have any other alternatives like much like that, those bottles will be very expensive in town for people to be just throwing it. Because when I know the bottle is very expensive, I'll not throw it. Even when I buy a drink, I'll keep it and sell it for those companies to use it for something like metal iron sheet, metal plates for those that are making kiosks or those that are any other alternative, especially school desk. If not school desk at all or any other thing, so that if it is very expensive, people know you see the value of the bottle.
Okay.
Because the value is not on the bottle. That is where they are just littering it around. When they are making a very good use of it for those things that I just made mention, I think it will also reduce a little bit of just throwing it away.
Okay.
That is what I also have this afternoon.
Right, Richard, thank you so much for calling. So Richard is talking about the alternatives, what we can do about it. During the break, James will share with us with the plastic bottles and how we could, dispose them off, because the issue is again about degradable, that what we have, if we put it in the soil, is going to take a very long time to degrade, and so we need to look at alternatives like this and like what you were saying. So if we could all try as much as possible to do that, looking at the effect that at the end of the day it comes to all of us, it leaves nobody out of it. So please, you can also call and share your thoughts with us here on the program. The number is on the screen there. Ernest from Ablekuma is on. Hello, Ernest.
Yes, good afternoon, Matthew.
Good afternoon, please go ahead.
Yes, so my concern has to do with this. The very argument of as it were, shifting blames on the citizens for all of these, I think is neither here or there. I believe that every problem can be resolved. Every problem can be mitigated or reduced to the barest minimum, so long as there is a government commitment to it. The alternative of addressing this waste problem, I believe, rests solely or exclusively on the doorsteps of government.
Okay.
If the government is committed to roll out comprehensive waste management system and radically enforce it, citizens will comply. Because in every society, human beings will want to do as they deem fit. That is why we need government. Government exists to solve problems, to regulate human behavior. If you allow there are no sanitation laws. We don't have dustbins in the society and all of that. What do you expect people to do? There are no radical laws. The laws are there, but we don't enforce them. What do you expect people to do? So we cannot shift blame on the people. The blame lies solely on the doorsteps of government. Government must roll out radical, comprehensive waste management system and enforce it. And it will curb the problem. I just watched a video on TikTok, 1995, where flooding issue occurred. It took about 20 lives. So this issue happening right now is a consequence of decades of dereliction and reject on the part of government. Government has as it were, has failed as an institution.
Right.
So I believe that the alternative lies on the desktop of government. The government must be held solely responsible and roll out comprehensive measures to address them. Thank you.
Right, Ernest, thank you so much for your input. And it says radical comprehensive. That's very big. Radical comprehensive sanitation laws. And I believe that also. I believe that government has not done enough in terms of enforcement. As he said, we all want to do what we feel like to do. But if we know that there's a sanction for that and it is enforced, we'll definitely, not do that. So we will also want to hear from you. So give us a call. James, alternatives.
Yes, so I think now for practical actions, we need to take practical action because the rain has exposed a lot of the leaders that were...
The fundamentals are weak.
Yes, the fundamentals are weak, really exposed. So we need to quickly start cleaning massively areas because public health is looming, because we interact with each other.
Okay,
so
James, I would have to interrupt, and please, apologies for that, but we have our callers calling in. We're going to Dan Suman. Abubakar is on the line. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, please talk to us.
Okay. Please, our problem here, what I can say is our leaders.
Okay, what have they done?
Our leaders, you see, what right now the flood is going on. That's why they are taking all these measures to do. Let this thing stop. If God didn't kill us, after 10, 15 years, this will happen the same thing.
But again, for some say that it is the Ghanaian citizenry. Yeah.
When this happens, say yeah. Me, I don't mind because what the Emirato.
Hello. Okay, we've lost Abubakar there. Please call back. I just wanted to. Okay, you're still on. Okay, we've lost him there. Please call back. I want to hear your thoughts on what people say that it is the citizenry. James, please go ahead.
Yes, so we have to start clearing the debris. So kudos to Zoomlion and the NADMO for the ongoing cleaning, because if we don't do that as soon as possible, there's a lot of public health concerns, and government will have to even spend more on health issues. So it's good stakeholders have started mobilizing and they started cleaning the debris so that at least we can restore our system back. Now, when we restore, we need to seriously enforce our bylaws. The assemblies must, double up on their inspection, enforcement rules. That needs to be done. Quickly, we have to go back. If for almost a year now, we are not seeing a lot of the sweeping done, we need to make sure the local stakeholders are sweeping. If we need to bring back Zoomlion, we need to do that to get the sweeping.
Let's go to the mountains, James. Sorry. Kofi from Abri is on there. Hi, Kofi.
Hello.
Yes, Kofi, good afternoon. Thank you for calling. Share with us your thoughts.
Yes, I like the topic that is being discussed for a few days now, but it shouldn't be like the leaders should wait until something happens before they will come up, talk.
Hello, Kofi. We lost Kofi there. So again, it's about the leaders that we shouldn't allow them to come and talk, and then we don't see any action from them. So as I mentioned, James, you'd have to really forgive me for that, as I would keep interrupting. So you'd make your points quickly, and then I'll bring in Gabriel.
So we manage waste along the value chain. So you don't take a sweeping aspect out and still believe the system will still fit, because it is linked. You have to sweep to a point, then it is hauled, then you need to transport, then you need to treat, and then you need to landfill. So if you take one aspect of the value chain and expect the rest to operate effectively, there will be a problem, because you have to sweep it and get it to a point where you haul and then send it to the transfer station. So we should understand investment along that value chain. Then we look at risk circularity, very important. We need to recycle a lot of the waste in the system. Other than that, we don't even have lands to do a lot of the landfilling. Even if you have the land, how sustainable is that land? We have seen landfills that we have established that was supposed to stay for about 20 years, and within 10 years they are full to capacity. And that is telling us that it's not a sustainable way of going. Not to say landfills don't play a role, because it's not every waste you can be able to recycle. There are some residues that you need to send to the landfill. But when we invest in a lot of recycling facilities, make sure the waste is treated, we make sure we recover, we reuse, and these are models that are more sustainable. And I said the economics is telling us that is also another economic opportunity to expand the circular economy model, invest a lot of money there, and then recoup back. Because data is telling us if we don't invest in waste management health issues, we'll end up paying more in terms of the effect that we have. And we are seeing it. Government now have to cough over 300 million Ghana cedis as relief for people as a result of some of these actions that we didn't take earlier on. So we are paying the heavy price. So why don't we start paying the price now to make sure we avert a lot of this disaster?
Right, Gabriel.
Thank you very much. As a manufacturer, when I see this waste, I feel very, very, very sad, because there's a lot of money there.
A lot of money going to waste there.
Lots of money. But going forward, we need solutions. What I believe the government can do is there should be a sanitation policy where each household needs a number of waste bins. Either it is 2, either it is 3. Then the government should support these households, because these waste bins are not 50 cedis or 10 cedis. So the government needs to support each household to have this waste bin. That can help us primarily in collecting this waste. And it is true, all these plastics have alternatives, but the plastic is the more convenient. It is lighter in weight, easy to carry, so we cannot abolish it at all. No, we can reduce. There are places where we go, you may not necessarily need a polythene bag. You can carry them either in your hand, in a basket, or anyhow. But these plastics have been more convenient. It's more easy. Even when you don't have a car, you go to the market, you take 2, 3, you're able to segregate the products or whatever you have bought from the market. So it becomes more convenient. But if you're able to collect it, we can recycle. And the first caller mentioned, we can use plastic in making roofing sheets. We can use them in making bricks. We can use them in road construction. We can use them in making polyester fabrics. There are lots of uses of plastics we can convert all this waste into. We now, as a company, are exporting these bottles which are found in our gutters. Imagine. Why will we allow them? But we are not collecting enough. So the first thing I think we need to do is to make sure that each household has dustbins. Now, after the dustbins, it has to be collected and managed well. So the government also needs to come in helping either individuals or itself opening up more landfills. From the landfills to the treatment or the processing plants. So that at least most of these waste can be managed. We also exported this plastic to other countries. And when we put in more biodegradable products, when we are manufacturing these plastic products, what happens is it is a petroleum product. So the more it degrades, that means there will be pressure on the virgin material. That will be another problem. That is the reason why worldwide there has been a research in what we can use plastics to do. So each plastic, when it is either it is one time used, double, 3 times, 6 times, we should be able to use it to produce another plastic which will benefit the environment.
Okay, right. I have a message here. This one says that, good afternoon, my name is Nee from Oyarifa. My reflections, Ghana can reduce flooding if we respect our waterways, stop building in gutter-ways and wetlands, the silt-choked drains regularly before the rains, manage waste properly instead of dumping into gutters, and enforce the law without fear or favor. Emphasize mind. Otherwise, we should not be surprised when the rains come. Homes and roads go underwater, lives and livelihoods are affected, and we will meet again next year to have the very same conversation. Right, Mohammed from West Legon is on the line. Hi, Mohammed. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, please talk to us.
Okay, pertaining the plastic things we are talking about.
Yes.
The government have to ban, especially the bottles, the plastic bottles, because they can't do anything about it. They will talk about it. Even when you come to my area, I'm speaking from West Legon. We have made a big dustbin which we pile it in it, the plastic bottles. But you don't have place to recycle it. I went to this place, Cable, and go and talk to them that even I'll pay the transport, make them come and collect it. They say they don't have a place even to keep it before they recycle it. So the best thing the government should do is to ban the plastic bottles, and we see the way forward with the polythene bags and so on. But the bottles here, yeah. That is my conclusion.
Right. Thank you so much for calling and sharing your thoughts with us here on the show. So it seems like a lot of people have called in, and generally people understand the magnitude of the issue at hand and know that we need to find a solution to that. Is that solution the EPA's ban?
So I think that I would agree that it's a good place to start from because at the moment there are some forms of plastic or waste that materials that we use that become waste that we can get rid of. So I think that it's a good place to start from, and I think that would signal change a lot if the EPA, I believe, as they say, plan to implement it by July next year. And so I do think it's a good place to start. Yeah.
Right, for those of you who do not know about that, let me just read this, that the EPA, that's the Environmental Protection Authority, announced the nationwide ban on the production, importation, distribution, sale, and the use of polystyrene foam products, commonly known as styrofoam or takeaway packs, effective January 1, 2027. Derek is on the, okay, Rec is on the line. Hi, Rec from Tesano. Good afternoon. Please speak to us.
Okay, good afternoon.
Right, please go ahead.
All right.
Okay, Rec, this is what we'll do. Please lower the volume.
Wonderful program you are having today.
Hello, Rec. Please lower the volume of the TV or the radio you're listening to, and then speak to me on the phone, right?
Can you hear me now?
Great. Please go ahead.
All right, so what I'm saying is, this program is a program.
Oh, we lost Rec there. So as I was reading to you, that's going to be effective January 1, 2027. Now, this directive follows the policy announcement made by the President on June 5, 2025, during World Environment Day celebration, where he outlined government's intention to phase out styrofoam products as part of measures to tackle plastic pollution and protect the environment. And so this includes food packaging containers, takeaway packs, disposable cups and plates, foam packaging used by restaurants, chop bars, food vendors, all of that. And the manufacturers say that they were not consulted, and so they weren't too happy about the decision. But for the manufacturers and Gabriel, you're doing recycling, but for the people who produce this, how can they also help with the solution?
Manufacturers must develop a system of getting back these plastics which are found in the environment. What we are doing is we have set up cages in communities where you dispose of your plastics in them. Then, after a period, we bring it to the factory and recycle. As I mentioned earlier, all these plastics are recyclable, but collecting it is the challenge. And when we don't make it easy to collect it, then it will become a big problem like we are facing now in our flats.
Okay. Right, let's speak to Abdul Samed, calling from Committee 22. Hello, Abdul.
Hello, yes, sir.
Yes, I know Committee 22 so well. Talk to us. What's your thoughts on what we are discussing here?
Yes, I enjoy the program, and I want to go the way of Gabriel on your show. I remember in 2014, a similar thing happened, and government decided to place a fee on plastic manufacturing companies, so that fee can be used to assist in collecting the waste in the capital city. Where have these fees gone to? Can't we revisit that issue? Because banning these things, all these things are recyclable plastic products. I'm a finance person. I'm not into production, but I'm a finance person. But I know people's jobs are tempted with when we try to do some of these things. We are a developing nation. I sympathize with those who have lost their colleagues and then loved ones in the disaster. But let's look at what can we do to go about a holistic control of waste in the system. Let's put a mechanism in place to collect waste as and when they generate in our homes. So nobody will throw the waste into the river. I've been saying it time and again that if you go to Tudu, the junkies are doing a marvelous job, my brother. But government need to assist these junkies to do that job. They go to our homes, our shops to collect this refuse. But they cannot pay to throw this refuse into the Zoom Lion container. So what can government assist here? Government can provide vantage container points. When these small rubbish are collected, they don't dump it at the road.
Okay. Abdul Samed there sharing his thoughts. So I think after what's happened on Monday, a lot of conversations ongoing, and I'm sure people in their homes, in the communities, are having conversations about this. So we're talking about what the manufacturers can do about the situation. James, you were telling me about what is being used to produce the plastic. So as an environmental consultant there, and then to the manufacturer, this you say is easy to dispose of, and why is it important that manufacturers use alternatives, in their production?
Okay, so let me just demonstrate something.
Right.
So this is a different form of plastic.
Okay.
Okay. You all see them to be this is a different form of plastic. This is also a different form of plastic. If the label was on, it's also another form of plastic.
Right.
So you have different forms of plastics put together, making the problem worse. So if government is to make sure policies are in place, even the manufacturers would have to design some of these products in an eco-friendly way. Eco-friendly means that reduce the more plastics you are using to produce or manufacture this bottle, make it designed in such a way that even as a waste manager, when you come, you can easily fold it into smaller particles, and it becomes easier to even collect.
Right.
Other than that, I will just finish, and if I try, it doesn't, I just throw it somewhere, and it's occupying a bigger space. But when you design in such a way that it's easy to manage, you can fold it into a smaller, piece, which you can even put in your pocket without knowing it, but you can't squeeze this in your pocket.
Right.
So when you hold it, you will find ways to dump it. You might end up putting it in a drain or in your vehicle. After taking it, you just throw it down the street. So government should be looking at policies, even if for nothing at all, the manufacturers should find ways or eco-friendly things to do. Now, the government should also ensure that the manufacturers even use some components of recyclable plastics. So instead of taking virgin material to produce this, why don't you take a component, let's say 30% of manufacturing this should be a recycled plastic itself. So that is in a little way talking about the circularity that we are talking about. So the manufacturer will now be forced to collect the waste back from the system, because the government legislation mandates it to have a component of a recycled plastic to produce a new product. So feeding into the circularity concept. Aside that, like you talked about whether the styrofoam is a place to start with. I think yes, it's also a way to go. But the problem with government policies, some of these government initiatives, most of these initiatives are just policy-based, not necessarily prohibitive. When I talk about prohibitive, we don't have laws, enacted laws, to be able to even enforce when people do the wrong thing. We have a lot of policies in the system. So when it's policy-based, enforcement becomes a problem. So I don't know whether the government will take steps with this styrofoam ban to make it prohibitive, or it will just be a policy declaration and enforcement become a problem. Then at the end of the day, we are coming back to the same problem that we were trying to use policy declaration to solve. I think the law should be more prohibitive, like countries like Kenya, Rwanda have shown. You don't have it in the system. So when we see you doing it, there is a law that enforces that. You can go to court. I can take you to court for doing this menace, and the law will punish you because it is in the laws. Punishments are spelled out, and that will deter people. So we should move from policy-based and more prohibitive legal enactment to be able to, fight single-use plastics.
Right, and we really do appreciate all the calls coming through, because it means that you're following the conversation and you want the right things to be done to help with the situation at hand. So we can do a few more calls also, and then we wrap up at 2 p.m. on this particular dialogue here. Just, we're live on Facebook, Metro TV Ghana, 94.1 FM, on radio, DSTV channel 277, and also live on YouTube. So going forward, we've talked about the alternatives, we've talked about private sector, all of that, the manufacturers. Now, action. The action is what a lot of the callers out there are saying they want to see from government, from whoever is in authority. What action are you looking for? Should it be what was what the caller said, radical, comprehensive action, or it should be one of dialogue, trying to find a middle ground to be able to solve the situation in the meantime?
Yeah, I think those are Really good questions, and I think that we've had enough dialogues. I think, although at the MPAP our work is to convene and to ensure that we have conversations and dialogue, we've had enough. A lot of the things that we need to do are there, but what I continually see, even as callers, call in, is there's always this fix the country, fix yourself kind of mantra that we operate with as Ghanaians. Government thinks it's the people think it's the government.
Right.
But I think that all of us need to bear a share, a percentage of responsibility to address the issues, right? And so government needs to ensure that where plastic is produced, there are standards, like my brother here mentioned. To add to some of the things he mentioned, in some countries, there are even standards for, so if it's water, all water companies have one standards of producing their plastic.
Okay.
So there's a standard in the country.
Okay.
Some forms of plastic, like the label that are there, they are mostly, maybe my brother will correct me, but from what I understand, they are not recyclable, right? Is it possible to ensure standards that we don't have the labels, or we have very subtle labels that do not come in the middle of recyclability? So we need to think about the manufacturing, and then we think about the individual consumer who's consuming. Going back to some of the things that we've shared, giving waste bins to make sure we are segregating, right? Then moving to the waste coming into the communities, the sweeping, ensuring that there's transportation from where it's collected, to wherever it's ended. So I think that, for me, what would be an ideal thing is let's go to the table and say, okay, where is the plastic coming from? It's coming from here and here. In here and here, where can we block to ensure that some of the things that are happening are not happening? Then we go to the consumer. Where can we ensure that the consumer is separating their waste enough? So we need to look at the entire value chain and solve problems. The problem in Ghana is there's not enough problem solving, and the problem solving should be both individual responsibility of problem solving and government responsibility of problem solving.
So we have problem identification. We can identify the problem, but the solving is the issue. We've got Lawrence from Accra. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, please talk to us.
I've been listening and following the conversation, and it's like a general concern about the waste, the plastic waste particularly. But I don't see the plastic waste as one that is causing the flood. Because in the 60s, when there was flood, there was no plastics. Actually, what is causing the flood is the sun. The sun deposits. The sun coming from the mountain tops. The sun. Check our roads. Check wherever there is a flood. You will see that what blocks the gutters or the flow of the water is the sun. Anything that floats on water cannot cause flood because the water carries it away. The flood, what causes the flood is what is underneath the water flowing. So that is the problem. So if even we ban plastics, we will still not solve the flood problem if we don't take the sun away from the streets.
Okay.
The sun away from the gutters. All the gutters you see by the roadside doesn't have concrete walls around them. Most of them are sand. And water flows, it washes the sun. So it is the sun that is causing the flood and not the plastics. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much for your thoughts. Definitely, we're not saying that it's solely responsible for that, but it plays a very crucial role there. But thank you very much. So I was just going through countries that have done very well in terms of plastic waste management. Now, Rwanda is here, just taking a cue on what they've done. So they became one of the first countries to take serious action against plastic waste crisis with an implementing ban on single-use plastic bags and bottles in 2008. Now, violators caught carrying plastic bags can expect a fine And as a result of that, the capital city, Kigali, has been kept spotless from plastic waste. And now on every last Saturday of every month, Rwandan citizens aged 16 to 65 are required to participate in an act of community service. So these are the two. Let's go to the upper East region. Okay, upper West, I beg your pardon. Felix from Hamley. Hi, Felix.
Hello.
Yes, please speak to us.
Good afternoon to our fellow colleagues and viewers. Right. For this sanitation or rubbish issue, I can boldly say it's we, the human beings. We need to fix ourselves. This is not about government. We all are government, isn't it? We are government. We need to fix ourselves. How we throw our rubbish. Some can carry. I remember I came to Accra here. When I came to Accra, you could see somebody can carry a rubbish from the home to the market set and throw it there. Some will carry the rubbish if it is raining. Then that is the time they throw the rubbish into the gutter. And then I don't know whether the law favors some people and then the law also catches with some people. For us not be able to solve this situation, I think this will continue to be doing that. Some people are also building, see where the water is supposed to settle. They will go and cover that area all because they are rich. Then build where the water is supposed to stay. Okay. Then they build there. So if it is raining heavily, by all means, the water has nowhere to go. By all means, it will pass to each and every one of us, our houses. So we will kindly plead all those buildings that are built at the waterlock should be demolished.
Right.
And allow water to flow so that we all will also be able to have our freedom. And people that are also importing those rubbish, I would say rubbish and whatsoever, no, this will abolish it. If not, this will continue to be the thing of the past.
Right. Thank you very much, Felix. And that will be our final call so that I can take the final remarks from my guest here and then we can wrap it up. So I've talked about Rwanda. They are doing very well with that. In France, there was a law that came into effect in 2022, and thanks to that new law, there was a banning of plastic packaging on 30 types of fruits and vegetables, and even the produce stickers placed directly on food items, which are usually made from plastic, must now be made of compostable material. So that's what he was talking about, right? So in France, that's how they're also dealing with it. Now, in Australia, also, the plastics policy in Australia is also similar, just like the US. So in Australia, there's a plastic policy that has been proactive, especially with private companies. In 2018, two of the largest supermarket chains in Australia self-imposed a ban on plastic bags in their stores. And this decision resulted in an 80% decrease in plastic bag consumption across Australia. And with the vast majority of Australians concerned about the plastic crisis in their country. And so that is also what has been done in Australia. Now we'll go to South America. In Chile, now Chile is a significant plastic producer and exports to other nations. So they have a very serious issue on their hand. And I am reading that Chile took a bold first step to eliminating a product responsible for an outstanding 70% of litter on beaches worldwide. So again, it all boils down to what? A significant bold first step, which is action from government. Yes. And so that is what as Ghana will also be looking at. Let me wrap up with Canada. In 2021, the Canadian federal government listed plastics as a Schedule 1 toxic substance under the Canadian Environmental Protection Act. Now, the decision gave the government further authority to regulate the substance, providing the legal basis for a plastic ban, gradually phasing out the sale, the use, and manufacture of plastic bags, straws, cutlery, takeout containers, and other products. And since that decision, was taken and is still in place now. The results have been good for the country. So from Europe to South America, Africa, several other countries have taken a step to do that. So let me take your final remarks. Gabriel, let me begin from you.
It's interesting. I think I mentioned earlier that one thing we need to do as Ghanaians and the government is we have to reduce. We have to research into all the plastics which Ghanaians use or are in our environment and see which one we can reduce. Then again, we have to collect. We have to make policies, a 360 policy, which comes with enforcement and punishments, right from the manufacturer to the end user. The manufacturer producing the plastic products, how many have you produced in a year, and how many have you been able to collect from the environment? There should be a policy to govern that. Then again, there have to be an enforcement. We have to recycle and enforcement. If there is no enforcement, all this plastic will be found in the environment. Meanwhile, there is an opportunity for us to recycle and make value out of it. My colleagues mentioned earlier that if we can add a biodegradable or a percentage of recycling to the production of PET bottles. Okay, so what happens is when plastics are recycled, they are not supposed to be first packaging products. That's one thing we need to take note of. That's why we have educated the public that do not buy your food directly into the black polyethylene, because the black polyethylene is recycled.
Okay.
Again, plastic reacts to heat. So we are not supposed to eat directly from these plastics. And recycled materials are plastics which have already found themselves in the environment. So they really have to be treated well, 100%, because before you can use it to produce another first packaging products. Okay. So what we are doing as a recycling company is all the recycling we are doing from the plastic gathered from the environment. We are not producing first packaging. No. They are tertiary packaging. After you buy whatever it's audible in any form of packaging, that is a tertiary packaging we are going to put in. Okay. That is what we are advising.
Okay.
And these biodegradable, most of them are not food conformed. So, for instance, these plastic bottles we are seeing, you cannot add 20% biodegradable product to it.
And Gabriel, you have to wrap up. We've got just a few minutes to go. So please put all of that together, bundle it together, and let's wrap it up.
All I want to say is plastic, it's money. Plastic, it's economically beneficial.
Okay.
So we need to do a 360 chain. From manufacturing, we have to make benefits out of it. We have to create employment. The government must make policies to support the manufacturer, to support collecting this waste from the environment. After collecting the landfills also, we must have not less than 100 landfills to collect these waste. The processing plants also, we should encourage all the governments to set up processing plants so that we cannot leave these plastics in the environment to cause us this damage.
Okay. Gabriel, thank you very much. James?
Yes, I think we should identify the worst culprits. From the videos, we can see the sachet rubber is a problem. We are looking at styrofoam, yes. So let's identify the worst culprits. Do we use levies to make sure that the producers in that sector find other alternative that is sustainable? It is something that we have to look at. When you look at the statistics on countries that have been successful on this, I mentioned earlier on, let's be more prohibitive, let's enact laws that we can easily enforce. That is also very important. Enforcement is key. We should also make the reusable aspect or component in producing the plastic a little bit cheaper. So it's going to put in some incentives for people to look for recyclables to use in generating. Like you said, the other alternative, not directly for food, but the other uses like carrier bags and all that, we can look at using reusable material to produce them.
Okay.
And then finally, all stakeholders should come on board to work together so that at the end of the day, collectively, we can support the dangers of single-use plastics.
Right. Thank you very much, James. And then finally.
I think my colleagues have shared what's important, but I think we need some sort of solution task force or implementation task force. We need to get to work. We need to set a long-term plan that's focused on really doing, and no more policy. And dialogue is important, but I think we should set some sort of solution task force and just do. And as we do, we'll figure out some of the gaps that are left, and we're able to build forward. But we just really need to act, and we need an institution or a body that is focused on acting on the different plastic waste management issues that we have.
Right. Thank you very much. So you heard from Noi Omabo is with the Ghana National Plastic Action Partnership, also James Deku is an environmental consultant, and also with Zoomla in Ghana Limited, and also Gabriel Kudiabo is Chief Production Planner, Universal Plastic Products and Recycling. Well, today we brought you a special edition of the show with the commemoration of the International Plastic Bag Free Day 2026, a dialogue on this platform, Rethinking Plastic Bags in Ghana, Policy, Alternatives and Action. And thank you so much for being a part of the program and calling in and sharing your thoughts with us here. Together, we can make this work. My name is Desmond Okurekuda, so thank you to the production team also. And let me remind you that we're still here bringing you the coverage of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And today at tomorrow, 1:30 a.m., Ghana Black Stars will face Colombia. Are we also going to go out like the other African nations? Well, we'll see about that. But at 3 p.m., the sports team will be here. And then we'll do the highlights. And then at 1:30 a.m., we'll bring to you that game in Kansas City, Black Stars versus Colombia. What's going to be your prediction?
It's going to be a tough game, but I think I'm tipping Ghana to win.
Okay. Gabriel?
I'm expecting a draw.
A draw. A draw take us to penalties. So.
I tell you, and that will be the most difficult to fight. Our keeper is doing good, so
we'll see how it goes there. Okay. Right.
I think we will qualify.
We'll qualify. Whatever we do to qualify there, we have to qualify. Right. Right. So thank you so much for joining us. Kudos to the production team, everybody who helped put this together, and do what to follow us on our website. We have a lot of news there, www.metrotvonline.com, on DSTV channel 277, 94.1 FM on radio, on YouTube, on Facebook, Metro TV Ghana. I am Desmond Okurekuda, so do what to follow me also, Desi the Starboy, on all platforms. Have a good afternoon and enjoy your holidays. Bye-bye.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
In a time where noise is loud but clarity is rare, one program is changing the conversation. Welcome to the Intelligence Desk. This is not a talk show. This is a working studio. Each week, we break down the biggest national and global issues, from AI and digital transformation to trade, jobs, governance, and national competitiveness, and turn complexity into practical, usable knowledge. Sharp questions, structured thinking, real solutions built live on air. With resident resource person Dr. David King Boyson, the show moves beyond commentary, designing frameworks, mapping strategies, and holding decision makers accountable. From the big issue briefing to the strategy lab to the innovation and opportunity board, every episode delivers tools you can use. If you care about Ghana's future, if you value clarity over chaos, if you believe leadership requires intelligence, then this is your desk. The Intelligence Desk, hosted by RSM Kofi Dole Lawson on Metro TV, where Ghana thinks forward.
What was all this drama of coming to my class late today?
I told you I'm pregnant. What are you doing about it?
I said, Abado, why make up so?
Hey, what police will be in teaching one? Shall we Phoebe? So now say I pass our bravo.
But why are you saying that?
That girl is a charlatan. It's a wolf in a sheep's clothing. A prostitute in disguise.
Abaya come yourself.
Na bla ubo college mu ha eye.
My friend say if she come and come. Since I'm come pie, don't come and spoil my spiritual mood for me.
But you the other time the running way, Charlie, I take come no you chop am. My food no.
Do you know how hungry I was that day?
For no say if you running there. If I bring am no for no. One more thing. I will embark on a project like 1 boy, 3 girlfriends.
Can you imagine? As that day, I think he was actually planning to have intimacy with me.
As usual, it's hurting. But wait, you know I cannot wait to be promoted, Mom.
You know me, I get black belt, so nigga don't fuck with me. Hey. Nigga don't fuck with me.
Bro, I go fit sound you for him.
Hey.
I am not joking at all. See, protocol.
See, you sick of can you never act Mr. Gentleman, make no fool plus.
You can equally carry all the money in her room and they will not touch a pinch of her hair.
What's going on between you and Pasolu?
You will find out when you get to the dining.
I have fallen for you down flat.
How long is it taking you to open the door?
Is that a condom?
No, it's chocolates.
I'm Kwaba Samuel of Custom Looks, the maker of the fan jersey, and make sure you are watching the World Cup on Metro TV!
Catch every moment loud and live on Metro TV, Original TV, and Original 101.9 FM.
Go Black Stars, go all the way till the end, to victory. We'll keep on cheering you until you have the trophy in your hands. Go Black Stars all the way. Football, it unites all of us. There is no escape from the medium of football. It unites all Ghanaian, it unites all Africa. And this time we are praying for Africa to make an impact, starting with Ghana leading the way. So watch it and support the Black Stars all the way. If your choice is Metro TV, good for you.
Catch every moment loud and live on Metro TV, Original TV, and Original 101.9 FM.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
The devastating impact of the ongoing flood remains painfully visible among some residents of Accra. Homes are being submerged, businesses are being destroyed, livelihoods disrupted, and in some communities, lives have been lost. Every rainy season brings a familiar story: overflowing drains, blocked waterways, stranded commuters, and devastated families. This week on The Clean Report, we revisit the aftermath of the flood, hear from those directly affected, access the emergency response, and explore what must change if Accra is to avoid repeating this cycle.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to The Clean Report. My name is Christando. Today we examine the aftermath of the recent flood that has hit Accra and its environs. Beyond the destruction lies a critical question: what must be done, or what can we do to prevent future disaster? We begin by revisiting some of the hardest hit communities within Accra and its environs. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
The recent floods affected several communities across the capital. Roads became rivers, homes became islands, and many families were forced to seek temporary shelter. For residents living in flood-prone areas, the disaster was not entirely unexpected, yet the scale of destruction once again exposed the city's vulnerability. Urban expansion, Poor drainage systems, uncontrolled development, and indiscriminate waste disposal continue to worsen the problem.
June 3rd was disastrous. All our things, everything, it was disastrous. It wasn't good at all. All our things, our home, our mattresses, our chairs, our clothes, even some of the money lost, it wasn't easy. Even some lost their life, it wasn't easy. So the people living, the fence walls was broke. Oh, it wasn't easy. So the June 3rd was so much disastrous.
I pray. I am Papa. And Raya Fleha. Chessa got the cinema live. Shayanama, Nene mattresses. And remember, brain and say, air conditions are for. I have to say a complete BBA. Near fixing in na say, ye freezers. BBA, me money, no money, na me shop. In soon as the summer shop, no money na. Ebu nina say nti yesre aban no on boaye no munti membe ye gata sakese we ya ha na yentimi de ye ho because it's just very bad ye walls nyina bubububu ye bibia say ye dem nyama nyina me shop nyama nyina yesre aban say kotodo bufom omumma contractors ni bi embra yenso ya so ya ha no mumbe hwe ye no mun ye gata na ye ho to ye.
Behind every flood statistic is a personal story. Families who lost belongings, business owners whose investments were washed away, children whose education was disrupted.
So I normally don't do this. I don't do this at all. I don't show my personal life. But look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, my people, see, I'm a photographer. I work extremely hard every single day, toiling in the water, in the rain, in the sun. I come back from town just to get something that I have a big work tomorrow planned, and I come home and look at this. Look at my home. So if a young person in this country is trying hard, I don't go anywhere to steal any money. I don't go anywhere to take anything from